I think that it's really important when it comes to fearful avoidant attachment styles and sex and intimacy to take a long, hard look at the different pillars of connection in a relationship. So we have the intellectual pillar of connection. That's how we share ideas and wisdom or challenge each other or debate or talk about philosophies or politics or whatever it might be in that pillar. We have our emotional connection pillar, which is very much about vulnerability and sharing feelings or sharing needs that you have, letting somebody know your truth or your boundaries, sharing your inner world, asking deep questions to each other. That's the emotional connection pillar. Then we have the sexual or physical connection pillar. That can include obviously sex and intimacy, but also how much you let somebody into your physical space or proximity. Do you live with somebody? Do you spend evenings with them and then sleep over? Also affection as a love language. Like, are you touchy-feely? Do you like more space? And then last but not least, we have our romantic connection pillar. A lot of times, honestly, what I've seen fearful avoidants do is use sex and intimacy that way as a connection or substitute for connection in the romantic pillar. What I mean by this is if they feel like there's this romantic disconnect, they'll think, oh, we can fill that romantic disconnect by having sex or being intimate. When in reality, a lot of times what they're actually yearning for, fearful avoidance, and often aren't consciously aware of it, is actually create the romantic spark in the relationship. Have a nice date night, travel on the trip together somewhere, do something where you're romantically engaged, express feelings that you have for each other instead of just bottle them up or keep them in. And I'm not saying this is for all fearful avoidance. I'm just saying it's something to be aware of because it does happen quite frequently. Sex sometimes is being used as like a band-aid to bridge the gap in other pillars rather than having the awareness of like what's actually missing in those areas. Like we were talking about earlier, bridging the gap of the emotional connection pillar because you're not usually good at being vulnerable and letting yourself be seen and known by other people. And then bridging the gap of the romantic connection pillar because you're not making space to stoke the flame of like that aspect of a relationship. Okay, so really important things to keep in mind.